Wealth has nothing to do with money. Success has everything to do with failure, and life is as simple as you make it.
Hello, everybody. This is Jake Stenziano, host of the Jake and Gino podcast, here with my co-host, the multifamily mentor, the coach, the chef, the father, six, the best-selling author, the G-Daddy. Gino Barbaro. Gino, how's it going?
Jake, I'm doing great, bro. How you doing?
Always making it happen, big man. I was waiting for something else, but hey, we're rolling with it today. Today's guest has quit his corporate career successfully, only to start his first multi-million-dollar company in the same day. That sounds a little too quick, but we're going to dive into that a little bit. He's a successful entrepreneur, radio host, philanthropist, and author who has delivered educational, inspirational, and motivational products and presentations throughout the world with such notable acts such as John Childers and Robert Kiyosaki. He is dedicated to helping others achieve financial freedom through his entrepreneurial spirit, and we're excited to have him on the show. And we're also excited to have him as our host, the host with the mostest, the MC, the Miggity Mac at Multifamily Mastery 4. So without further ado, John Dessauer, welcome back.
Thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure to be here. And every time I hear that introduction from you, Jake, I feel like it's like it's either I've passed and this is my eulogy, or, something big is going to happen. And I know that's the case.
Man, I don't know if I would be bringing that kind of passion to a eulogy, but maybe I should be. Maybe I should. And no one's picking on my pink shirt today, so we're just going to roll with it. John.
Yes.
Talking about Multifamily Mastery 4, I want you to share with us, and we all have our different reasons, our different whys, if you will, passions, drives, desires. What is it specifically, we're going to go deep into multifamily today, that attracted you to multifamily to make it your vehicle of choice that essentially supports you and your family? I mean, just to get to the most simplest, I'm a cut to a get to the point kind of guy. So let's hear from you about that why.
Yeah. So, when I graduated, I looked at a lot of things, but I couldn't find anything in which I could buy something that, in a sense, somebody else or something else, like a financial institution, would give me the majority of the money to buy it. And then that asset that I bought is going to spin off money so that in such a way that it would pay for the operational expenses, it would pay for the debt service on the building, and then I'd have cash flow that's left. And the cash flow left is what puts food on the table, clothes on the kids, gas in the car. And so I struggled to find something like that. Typically, we go get a job and we work 2 weeks, we get a paycheck. We work 2 weeks, get a paycheck. But as I get older, and I know what you're thinking, Jake, I don't look that old.
Just beautiful, baby. Just beautiful.
As I get older, I realize that time is now my currency instead of money. So if I can spend more time doing the things that I want to do, that was the big home run for me.
John? I love what you're saying. Gina, I just got to jump in because it goes back to Peter Lindemann a few weeks ago, because he mentioned debt service. And I'm sorry, man, we're on the same page, the same wavelength. It's coverage. You're a cash flow investor. We're cash flow investors. We like to buy these assets. You get the coverage. You get enough coverage to pay the bills, right? To pay the nut. And then what's left over, you go buy things with it. You go buy food. You go buy a place to live. You go on a vacation, maybe. You go buy your next asset. We're very simple guys, and that's why this works for us, because you come in, it covers the nut, and there's money left over, and that's what's important. You can get very cutesy with these different underwriting models, but at the end of the day, I want to know, is the nut going to be covered, and is there going to be money left over? It's as simple as that when you're investing for cash flow. And if you get in and you can get to that point from the jump, a lot of times, by improving operations, you can quickly refi that. And then, that's when the game gets really exciting. So sorry, Gino, I'm going to back off. I'm stepping on toes right now. I'm sorry, but I just had to get that out there. So.
Bro, you can step on my toes anytime you want. When you're wearing that pink shirt and you're bringing the heat,
shit.
I mean, you can do anything you want. It's the Jake and Gino show. So my kids always say, why is it Jake first?
I'm turning red
I
here.
said, dude, it's Jake because it just rolls off the tongue. Just like that shirt. You look so fresh today.
Sounds like a deli. All right.
But John, what is the favorite thing for you about real estate? Because you've built an amazing life with real estate. And sometimes you just get caught up in the numbers, but what has it allowed you to do?
She's not here, but I get to work with my wife pretty much every day.
Where's this going, John?
I know.
I feel like this could go one of two ways here.
This is like relationship therapy as well. But I get to spend time with her, but I also get to work with her. And I think couples that look at this business are unique. And Gino, I know you have a podcast that you're with your wife and talk about stuff like this. But one of the things that I think is interesting is we all go into a relationship with our strengths and weaknesses. We go into real estate the same way. I'm a big picture guy. My wife is a detailed person. If you don't have a detailed person on your team, you're probably not going to do as good. So I love the fact that I get to work with her. Now, not everybody can probably do that, but I think it's helped us in our relationship over the years because we have a work mode and then we got a non-work mode. And so that's one thing that I really like. I get to work with her. Number two, I love the fact that other people are going to their 9 to 5 to cut me the most important check of the month. They're the engine behind this whole thing. And the trade-off is we get to give quality housing to people that need it in, various communities around the Midwest. So I really like that aspect. I feel like it's a service that we're providing that is really needed in today's world. And then I guess number three, the opportunity to take advantage of the tax code. Didn't even pay attention to this growing up in college or when I first got out of college. But the advantage, taxes are one of our biggest expenses. And to have the ability to follow the rules the government puts in place, it is fantastic. And so those probably are my three favorite things about real estate.
John, do you mind if I share a sentiment of mine as well?
Absolutely.
Yeah. You said it's your show, Gino.
Well, that's the Jake and Gino show. I'm just here, not stepping on any toes today. But honestly, John, I truly mean this. This is one of the reasons why you are emceeing our event and you're a part of the Jake and Gino family. It really is about family. And I feel the same way about my wife. I can be a visionary sometimes. Once she started doing the podcast, she's amazing. She's probably better than I am right now. Once she started getting into life coaching, and I take credit for her getting into it, she's probably better at it than me. And I love working with my spouse. She could care less. She still doesn't know what refi and roll means. She doesn't know what a cap rate is, but she's just an integral part of my life. And there is no life work balance. She's at every Jake and Gino event. She's with my kids. She's going to be there at MM4, Women of Wheelbarrow Profits. They're going to have a little booth there. It's exciting. So for those of you that are like, oh, I don't know if I could work with my spouse, that's not the right question. The right question should be, how do I work with my spouse? And number two, how do I get my spouse to come to this event with me? Because I want them to share the excitement that I'm having there. Because that's really important. Because when my wife is there that weekend, the kids are there. They're going to be selling swag. We have a Second Harvest food bank booth. We have all these other vendors there. We have so many amazing things going on. And you're just going to be surrounded with like-minded entrepreneurs and people who want to better their lives. So for me, that answer just resonates so well. And I'm sure a lot of people listening on this call, echo that same sentiment, but talk about the spouse.
I'm going to pull an e-break. I can pull an e-break right now. Cause you talk about the family stuff here. I got to get some feedback from you guys as experienced parents here. Okay. So yesterday, my daughter is writing up all these Halloween books for MM4. And she goes, Chase, we're going to skyrocket with money with these. So she's making all these Halloween booklets that she wants to sell there. And I asked her, how much are you going to sell these for? She goes, $30. I'm putting a lot of time into these. How do you respond to that? I mean, that's a big ask for when our book is published and all this stuff, and it's going for like 20. So give me some feedback.
The very first thing that you've done, which is amazing, that most parents should look at, is they've created that entrepreneurial spirit.
Dude, I was juiced yesterday.
I made a mistake as an entrepreneur. Yeah. I always thought that product and processes were important. The number one thing to an entrepreneur that I've learned is it's sales and marketing. You can have the best damn product in the world. If you can't sell the product,
you can sell.
You're done. So, and we've incorporated the same side selling technique at Jake and Gino, right? We want to find impact together. That's the important. So set for her, that's the next step. Well, Emma, once you sell these books, show these people the amazing value they're going to get for $30. Once they start understanding
that's
that
the
concept,
question though right now, because they're stapled together. I mean, they're beautiful. Don't get me wrong. And if she's older, listen to this someday. I'm just saying I just got to make sure the value is there. The value is for you.
And that's an amazing, dude. I'm really proud of you. I'm really proud of you. That's an important step. They're young. They're going to be, but more importantly, they're going to be in the crowd with my kids. It's going to be exciting. They're going to be in that energy. They're not going to want to go work in a cubicle. They're going to want to follow dad. Dad is the role model. So you as the parent have done an amazing job. You are their role model right now. They're looking up to you. They're not looking at sports. They're not looking at entertainment, Hollywood. They're looking at dad. And I love what dad does. That's why real estate so powerful, because we can be the role models. I hated the restaurant. I hated coming home tired, grumpy. Once I started doing what I loved, all of a sudden my kids were like, well, dad is really cool now. I don't want to equate hard work with being angry or grumpy. Find your sole purpose, and you've done that, and now you're teaching your kids.
It's because you bought the golf cart for the beach with the spinners on it, dude. How can you not be cool, right? So I don't know, John. The value there, the pricing, is it too much? How do we? I don't want to not encourage it. Maybe test the market when we get there with them, guys. I'm just saying.
I think what was interesting, what you just said, is she said, I'm going to sell this for a certain price because I've got a lot of time in it. I put a lot of time in this. And she's
telling her brother the price is going to skyrocket. Like she's basically saying we're going to profit like crazy.
and her brother bought in, and he's probably all pumped up about it. They're making plans to break off from the family unit, buy their own cars and
the ENC Publishing Company. Yeah.
I would just let her go with it and
let it run.
What happens?
Maybe mom will have to send a few people in there to buy a few. I don't know if that's right or not. So
talk with us
on that. Go ahead.
Talk with us about the spouse, though, because bringing spouses is very important to these events, or a significant other, even if they're not going to partake in it. Let them at least see your vision, because I always say my wife became financially free on August 30th, 1998. That's when we got married. She could care less about money, but when I got on this real estate journey,
she had the workhorse.
Dude, bro, that's right. You know what I mean? That was my job. She stays home, homeschools the kids. I have this job. We support each other. It's important. She knew her sole purpose. She's amazing. And now she's gotten older. She's had the ability to help me out. But really, if I didn't have her support during the dark days of 2010, 2011, 18 months for the first deal, working harder, making less, she would have said, Gino, what are you doing? I mean, you're wasting all this time. You're educating yourself. You're going to these events. You're spending thousands of dollars. Where are the results? I was fortunate enough that she really understood what I wanted to do, and she saw how much I was struggling. But take them to the events. What do you think, John?
Yeah, that's like when you're talking about events, that's really where the seed gets planted for what you're doing, not only as an entrepreneur but as a couple. My wife, like I said, is a detail person. I couldn't do what she does. She's on, we use Appfolio. I think you guys are familiar with that.
We use Appfolio too.
She's on that thing all day and doing reports and all the detailed work, where I'm more the big picture on the strategy, the exit strategy. How are we buying right? How are we going to finance right? How are we managing right? The pillars that Jake and Gino teaches, all of those things, that puzzle of big picture and detail are really needed. So, working with Heather and being able to, create something and grow something and develop something together is really fulfilling outside of business, because we find ourselves, the biggest challenge, and Gino, maybe you can tell me if this happened to you, is learning to turn it off and then turn it on. When that happens, is there a line of demarcation where it gets turned off and turned on? We've found that out over the years, but once we were able to do that, it's been fantastic.
John, be a little cute on this one. Once the lights go off, 10 p.m., we're going to bed, then we turn it off. We get up in the morning, we turn it back on. There's no balance in life. I mean, honestly, if you love what you're doing, you have to really shut it off. It comes natural. We'll go for a walk at the beach, and I'm like, Jewel, who are we podcasting this week? Who are we interviewing? What book are you reading? And I'm having trouble with this idea or this strategy I'm implementing, or what should we do as far as long term? It just becomes part of your life, and it's natural. And there really is no balance. I'm obsessed with what I do. There's two things that I'm obsessed about: is my family and my business, and everything else is secondary. Knowing what your values are, that will really help you guide that. So for me, I think that's how I guide my life, and everything emanates from family and from the business. This is the Jake and Gino community. I'm here to help students close deals. I'm here to help change lives. There's a lot of relationships, and my wife loves that. She loves seeing me help people. She tells me I got too big of an ego sometimes. I keep getting these great emails. I keep showing her, I'm trying to compete with her at the same time, but she knows I'm joking around, but that's what it's all about for us. We get a lot of joy from helping others, and that's one of our values. So everyone out there listening, check your values, check what they are. And I don't think you could be too obsessed one way or the other, because it just becomes natural and starts, flowing as part of your daily routine.
Yeah, I love that.
So one thing that I'm just taking away from this is that it may sound a little cliche, but proximity is power. And we've heard it last week. We were talking to Luke Wren, who speaks on stage with Tony Robbins. Peter Linneman, we had him on the week prior. He was discussing the same thing. And the reason I'm bringing this up, because John made an excellent point where you may have an inner circle of 5 people that you and your wife hang out with. Chances are they probably don't aspire to be multi-million-dollar multifamily investors. A lot of multis going in there. It's because it's a big life, right? Truthfully, none of my friends invest in real estate. No one that I know in my community invests in real estate. So no one outside of this community that we've created is like-minded when it comes to this. So your wife, you go to your wife and you say, and this is why it's so important to have supportive spouses. Gino said, my wife did not bash my dreams. My wife embraced our dreams that became our dreams and our family's legacy here. Okay. So the power of these events is the proximity, because all of a sudden you're going to get into a room with 700, 800, 900 people at Multifamily Mastery 4. There's going to be fire energy going on there. People are going to be talking about deals. All of a sudden you're going to come into a sea of like-minded people. And if you bring your spouse to see the difference, and even John was talking about the tax code, these same people that you're probably hanging around don't understand the benefits of multifamily, don't understand the tax benefits. And if you can get your spouse into a place where people get it, they will start to get it too. And that will make for a lot more cohesion. And if you want to talk about balance between the two of you, because you're both on the same page. So I just had to get that out. John, you're smiling. You got something smart to say right now, I can tell.
What's so interesting, when I first introduced Heather to this, she was skeptical. She didn't want anything to do with this. She's like, I don't want to be a slumlord, And she said, even with we'd go to events and to seminars to learn and absorb that information. She wanted no part of it. And one of the things that I found is in talking to her early on, her being skeptical about things and new ideas with real estate investing and doing things different with our income, is I stopped telling her what we were going to do, and I started asking her for help. The same mechanism that keeps someone skeptical is for protection. Well, the same inside mechanism of a person to want to help somebody is that same platform. So it really worked well for us. So if somebody has a spouse that is maybe skeptical about real estate investing, or maybe even learning about real estate education, or maybe how is that implemented, start approaching in a help fashion rather than, hey, this is what we're going to do. It really helped us.
I love that. Stephen Covey says we see the world as we are, not as it is. That's the reality. When you go to these events, all of a sudden you're looking at a different paradigm of life, where you're thinking, I can't do this. How do I do this? And all of a sudden you're in a room with 700 people who are doing it. And all of a sudden everything changed. John, I need to ask you, every high level performer that we've interviewed, whether Sharon Lechter last week, Peter Linneman, they all have mentors or coaches. How have you utilized the mentor/coaching space in your life to build your businesses, to help on personal development?
Yeah, so they've played a very, very important role in my life. I don't know where I would be. And really what it comes down to is I've changed the people that I hang out with, both my wife and I have, because of the mentors that we see. I'm reading the David Goggins book right now. And, every book that I read, or every mentor that I'm with, is giving me information that is bringing me to the next level. And that's really where not only myself, but my wife and our business, we want to take it to. I don't want to be average. I want to be extraordinary. And to do that, you've got to either hang out with extraordinary people or be mentored by extraordinary people. And I think that's really the true difference. It's not only motivation, but it's actually specific guidance on what to do differently than the norm. Someone once told me, if you only deal with what you know, how can you ever expect to expand your life and expand your brain and where you're going? So that was a huge thing for me. So mentors, coaches have always played a huge role in my life.
John, do you mind if I add a couple of things to that answer?
Bring it.
Bring it on. And I'm constantly getting coached. I'm going through speaker coaching right now. There's two things that have really propelled me. One of them is the accountability. I got COVID a few weeks back, and all of a sudden I've got a call.
You got
coach. I got COVID, bro. I got it. And I pulled through it. I feel great. But at the time I was tired, and I'm making excuses going, I got to speak. I can't get on my coach. Guess what? I got skin in the game. I paid for this call. I'm going to do the damn work. Right. So that accountability to me is huge.
That's why they call him the G Daddy. He gets on his coaching call when he's got COVID. No stopping this guy.
And
Survivor.
And Stenzi, you know the funny thing, Stenzi? I said to my wife when I was going through, I'm like, I don't really feel like doing anything today. And she goes, wow, you're like a normal person. I'm like, that
got his ass fired up.
That was my superhuman ability. I can crank things out. And she told me that. I was like, okay, I'm getting on that damn coaching call. It's the accountability. Right. That's the first thing. And it's having skin in the game. And that will pull you through. Jake and I did some scaling up coaching a couple of years ago. Talk about hard. Talk about being vulnerable. Talk about creating core values. Talk about like creating a mission statement and a cadence of accountability. Things that we never knew. We would not have been able to scale from 700 units to 1,500 units effectively, efficiently, as quickly as we did with making so many fewer mistakes. But it was the accountability piece, getting together every quarter, getting together with the coach,
and the systems.
Doing the work and the systems, all of that involved. Was a hefty price tag. Once we look at it right now, we're able to teach on this stuff. We've also implemented it and we are lifelong learners and we're going to continue to learn to it. So there's two things to there, everybody. It's the accountability piece and it's having skin in the game that will pull you through and make you become whether better investor, better husband, better wife, whatever you're looking to do in any venture in your life.
Amen, Gino.
Yeah. I mean, first of all, congratulations, survivor. That's fantastic. Number two, accountability. I think that's more of the coaching side of things and why someone would want to be coached. Sometimes, you probably see it in sports a lot where you've got a team that's probably average, but they're held so accountable and they hold each other accountable. But that coach is really the driver beyond that. That coach can get the team or the person to do things they wouldn't normally be able to do. And, as an entrepreneur, it's a lot like sports where it's results orientated. And if you can get yourself in a position where you can do things outside of where you think is possible, push past possible. If you can get yourself or your team in that position, that's where the magic happens.
Love that. And let me give you another example, John. This past week was Labor Day. Monday, we have our weekly lesson on Monday. Only 6 students showed up. Don't even know if they had it. But what was powerful was the ones that did, I truly gave them a ton of advice, ton of help. One of them is going through a deal, doesn't know how to deal with a mom and pop residential broker. That accountability that they showed up, that they want to get that deal over the finish line was powerful. And that's what it comes down to, that proximity. You can sit there and flounder and not know what the next steps are. I'm throwing the SPY technique at him. I'm throwing so many different things at this student who's actually pretty high level. He's a flipper, but he hasn't bought that many big multifamilies. And just a couple of those nuggets of advice, being able to give him some trainings that that I can, guide him towards, makes all the difference, whether you're going to close a $2 million deal or you're not. And the amount of money that I'm able to sell with him, whether it's, hey, go hard on day one, put a little bit more money down in the down payment, all these different techniques that are working in this part of the market is why you want to have somebody who's done it before, who has the results and who can help you out. So it's really becoming clear on what you want. And once you want that, go out there, find that coach or that mentor that can help you.
You just mentioned something that I found extremely funny. There's a big difference between brokers that just do multifamily that are in it, that they process. It's like a factory, and a mom and pop squirrely broker that does 1 or 2 multifamilies a year that doesn't really party in that space. Mm-hmm. And so you want to think that, you're dealing with these guys that are, CBREs and Marcus guys that just do multifamily. They're pretty straightforward most of the time with you. They're kind of in it. They know they're going to get their commission. It's a call for offers kind of thing. There's definitely some moving parts where you got to be on your game, but you want to talk about dealing with somebody that you could have some pitfalls with. Deal with the mom and pop on a 30 unit that's maybe sold one other multifamily in their life. You're going to see some crazy shit. Okay. That's where you're going to start. So it's funny because you're going to start with many times this person that is a little bit kooky out there. And then you're going to scale into something that is actually a little bit more professional and well understood. Dude, this is what we had to do. I just want to tell a little story. Our first deal, the way we got the actual information on how much the rents were, we went door to door knocking with the owner because nobody could verify this. And the lady was about 70 years old. We got to the 4th door. This guy shows up and he had a hole in his boxers about the size of a football and was just standing there. So Gino, I always do my due diligence for you, bro, but we only got 24 out of 25 that day because we said, you know what? We'll just whatever the rent roll says. But sometimes you got to go to that length because you're dealing with some crazy stuff. Either the mom and pop seller is nuts or the broker has no idea what's going on. and you end up dealing with some of those triple X rated scenes that, that'll scar you for life, really.
And Jake, that's the funny thing. This student is going through, Patrick, big shout out to you because you were on yesterday. He's going through 3 different LOIs. They've agreed on price. Now they don't want a 45-day close. They want to do a 30-day close. And we're trying to, work out, this is what you need to say, because you don't want to come off as being, confrontational. And they're using the nibble technique. And every time he's getting nibbled and nibbled. And I'm telling him, hey, cut the nibble right now. Exactly. So there's so many things that we've cut been the nibble, give him some kibbles. Yeah. Oh, dude, man. It's okay, I'm giving you the price. I'm giving you the due diligence. I'm giving you the hard money down. I'm giving you the escrow, what everything where he's giving. I'm like, you have to stop. This is what you need to do.
He's gonna have to draw a line in the sand.
Exactly. So, but you need to hear those hard things. And if you're doing this by yourself, you have nobody to bounce these ideas off of. You can't get on with a coach. You can't get on with Gino.
And you haven't dealt with the 30-unit squirrel before. It's like,
and this one deal is life-changing. This one $2.5 million deal at 75 a door is going to be worth 130 a door once he's done with this thing. This will be a life-changing deal because he'll be able to refinance all of his money out there after 18 months. He'll be able to probably cash flow $5 or $6 grand a month easily. And just from the cost segregation, because he's a professional real estate investor, he's got that designation. You're talking about, like John said, taxes, baby. That's what we're talking about, saving money on taxes. So you've got the trifecta, refi and roll, cash flow, and then taxes. I mean, what an amazing deal. That one deal. So when you think about coaching, it's an expensive endeavor, one deal will pay you for the rest of your life. That deal that Jake was talking about with Mr. Boxers, now you look back at it, $8 grand a month we're still getting from that deal. Every month that deal prints money every single month, and we refied all our money on that deal. So that one deal has changed our lives. It only takes one, Mr. Stenzi. What say you?
19 years away from that thing being paid off too, counting it down.
Now, Jake, if your coach would have said, hey, you got to go talk to the guy with a hole in the underwear. You got to talk to him. I want to hold you accountable.
I just have to talk to the attorney first to make sure I'm not like doing any crossing the line, anything, you know what I'm saying? But you got to do it.
Right. Very cool.
Mr. Dessauer, last question before we go to short answers. We talked about it, and I think it's important that Jake and Gino, our catalyzing statement is we create multifamily entrepreneurs. Everyone listening to the Jake and Gino show, that's what we're all aspiring to become as entrepreneurs. We want time freedom. We want money freedom. Do you have a catalyzing statement, whether it's for your life or for your business, that you look at and go, going long-term, this is what I'm trying to achieve here?
Yeah, it's this. It's wealth has nothing to do with money. Success has everything to do with failure, and life is as simple as you make it. I know.
One more time. I'm a simple man, but I'm not that quick. Go ahead. Give me one more time.
Like, I don't know where that came from, but wealth has nothing to do with money. Success has everything to do with failure. And life is as simple as you make it. There's a lot of things that go on in our world. And I think that if we put money first, I think we're missing the boat because, I think wealth comes in other ways. And that's frankly, that's the result of a vehicle like multifamily investing. As long as you're guided right and you're mentored right and you have the right education and the right accountability, I think some wonderful things can happen with that. The second thing is, you're going to have failures along the way, but your successes come from learning and using people that have already learned those lessons from their failures. That's probably the biggest reason that I use mentors and coaches is because of that right there. And then finally, this vehicle of providing housing for people and taking the residual cash that's left and using that to put food on the table, clothes on the kids, gas in the cars is a pretty simple thought. It's a pretty simple action in reality, but so many people do it wrong without the right guidance. So, I've always used that in our business and it kind of keeps me grounded, but yet it kind of also tells me, hey, it's okay to fail, but could I use somebody else's failures and lessons to shorten that curve?
Well said, sir. All right, let's take a quick time out here from our sponsor.
Are you looking for ways to improve your life?
Here at Jake and Gino, our mission is to empower students through financial education and the vehicle of multifamily investing.
Yes, Jake. We agree that a person with financial intelligence can change the world for the better.
We've created our proprietary 3-step framework, buy right, manage right, and finance right, that we teach to our community. This framework, along with education, our one-on-one mentorship, on-site boot camps, and the amazing community has propelled our students to massive success.
We've all been there. We've had so many students that have been able to shift their mindset, overcome limiting beliefs, and set a clear path to achieve their goals. Whether you're currently fixing and flipping, wholesaling, or buying single-family rentals, and you know that multifamily investing is the right vehicle for you, I encourage you to visit jakeandgino.com/apply to schedule your complimentary consultation with our team. And I want to let you know this isn't a high-pressure sales call. It's really just a discovery call to get to know each other better and see if we're a good fit for working together. And if for any reason we're not a good fit, our team has tons of resources we will share with you to help you along your journey.
If you're ready to stop spinning your wheels, go to jakeandgino.com/apply and schedule your call now. All right, we're back. You mentioned the Goggins. Give me a takeaway from the book right now, because it's intense. I had fun with it.
So I'm just starting it. And the reason that I'm
Audible or reading it?
This one I'm Audible.
Okay, good. You got to do Audible. You got to do Audible with it, right?
Yeah. And so, although sometimes I do like, actually sitting down and reading, it just takes my mind a different place. But the reason that I'm doing it is because I've heard from so many people, Jesse Itzler and all these other guys that have connections there, that it just has intrigued me that a guy can take his body and have a goal and make a massive change to it, and then push past what we think is possible. And it's just, to me, that was an amazing story. So it's just started. I'm excited. And I think it's a tribute to what people can do physically, in the military, but also in personal lives, in business, and with multifamily investing.
Extraordinary results are not luck for the long term. Okay. And this book, I think, just for what he does, proves that. So you want that little extra, you got to go out and earn it. And man, that fires me up. I'm going to give you a little story on David Goggins. We were looking at having him at MM4, okay, as a speaker, and we got the most David Goggins response ever from his assistant. Sorry, David's out west fighting the wildfires right now. He's going to be booked up during that time. The most David Goggins response ever, request for speaking there. So when I saw that, I was like, dude's a real deal. What markets do you like for multifamily investing going into 2022?
Yeah, I've always loved the Midwest. Sometimes the Midwest kind of is the stepchild of real estate investing historically, but as these markets continue to appreciate, and as the need for housing, multifamily housing across the country is in high demand. There's not enough units to keep up with the demand. And if you had to create one product, if you were doing a startup right now and had to create one product, it would be a product or service that the demand was outpacing the supply. That's where multifamily is today. I think with the changes that are going on because of things like COVID and people moving from big metro areas to less populated areas, I think that the Midwest makes sense because of price points, because of cap rates, because of the potential of rent raises. And also, I love the strategy of going in to a mom and pop operator that hasn't raised rents in 20 years, doesn't think about things like lowering operational expenses. And that's where the money lies. It's in that potential. I'm a kind of a pirate at heart, and that's where our treasure is finding these older multifamily buildings that are in, the bones are good, but we can really change the financial metrics that happen at that building. So I do like the Midwest for that reason.
And the mentality is, hey, we can do a rent increase when the person moves out, but not when the lease re-ups. And that's where you get the death spiral and you see their cash flow diminish over time. That's why they create such amazing opportunities. All right. Brokers versus direct to seller. Do you have a strategy that you prefer? Do you use both? And where have you seen your success?
So I've used brokers in the past, the big guys, Marcus Millichap, CB Richard Ellis, all those guys. I've used small mom and pop shops. And it's interesting what you just talked about a little bit earlier with that. I think if you can get directly with an operator, an owner, and do a deal with them directly, you've got a better chance. If you get Marcus there, a CB there, they're going to price that asset at retail. If you can buy it less than retail, you're in a lot better shape. And one of the ways, I'll give you one of the ways that we've done that in the past and had really good success. Typically on commercial loans, typically the borrower is not paying the taxes and insurance. It's not rolled up in their mortgage payment. You see that a lot of times. So what I look for is I look at that real estate tax scenario. If they haven't paid their taxes, typically states do it twice a year. If they haven't paid their taxes and it's not rolled up in their mortgage payment, it tells me that either there could be a financial problem there or they're just unorganized. So that's one of the things that I look at. It's a leading economic indicator for us, at least, on, hey, that could be potential. We need to reach out to that owner and, tell them a little bit about what we do. And maybe, just maybe, we're helping them get out of a problem. So I search for problems rather than properties. And I found that to work really well.
You ever show up with cupcakes?
I might, if that's what it takes. If my coach told me to show up with cupcakes,
I've tried. I haven't connected on that yet, but there's a couple out there that I'm really kind of drooling over, and around the holidays might just show up,
buttercream
packet off.
Buttercream.
I go big with the cupcakes, man. I mean, Knoxville, we got some pretty serious bakeries here that do like the jumbo mama jammas really, really good. And I want to I want a nice cardboard box with colorful. I want to show a presentation along with a little bit about us, nice glossy. Goes back to my old pharma days, man. You come in, it's cupcakes and little boy voice, and haven't connected yet in the real estate world with that, but I'm trying.
I can't read the David Goggins book and hold cupcakes and all day. That would be
limiting belief. You got a purple shirt on. I got a pink shirt on. Stop bullshitting. All right. Come on. All right. Go fight a fire. Gino, take us home.
I'm going to try not to mess this one up, Jake. Wealth has nothing to do with money. Success has everything to do with failure. And in life is as simple as you make it. Did I get it, John?
Pretty good, man.
No, say it with confidence now. You're a speaker. Shit, Gino, don't make me come over there. Come on, opera man.
Okay,
the back of the throat.
I'm giving it to you. I wasn't sure I was saying the damn thing right.
What do you think this is? This is the Jake and Gino show. Come on, man.
Get the chainsaw out now. I'm ready to go. Wealth has nothing to do with money. Success has everything to do with failure, and life is as simple as you make it, Broseph. How is that, damn it? Was that good?
Dude, that could be like some kind of voiceover on a Marvel commercial. That was beautiful, man. Come on.
I'm going to leave everyone with this thought. This is the thought of the decade. Looking for problems, not properties. We glossed over that at the very end. That is the golden nugget. We're here to solve problems as entrepreneurs. Remember, Jake and Gino, we create multifamily entrepreneurs. Look for problems to solve, and you will find the properties, everybody.
Hey, those that solve the problems in this game are the ones that get rich. John, it's been a lot of fun having you. Looking forward to Multifamily Mastery 4, October 23rd and 24th in the big room with the built-in stage. It's going to be rocking it. G-Dad?
Last thing, where can people get a hold of you, John? They want to get more information about MM4. They want more information about your business. Where can they get a hold of you?
You can go to johndessauer.com. You can go to antonagency.com. Those two ways are probably the best way to get a hold of me. Through social media as well. You can find me. Type in my name. There's not too many of us.
He's out there.
Yeah, I'm out there.
Awesome. Guys, this has been great. Thanks so much for your time today.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.